Well, good afternoon, boys. It's great to be able to sit here this afternoon and have a bit of a chat about a whole variety of things about life at Whitefriars. And it's great to have Bailey and Lachlan and Thomas here to talk about your experience of school. And who better to talk about that than boys who live that every day here at Whitefriars. And how is school going for you right now?
I like it. I like all my mates. I've got a lot of friends here, and I like the subjects. They're pretty good as well.
I really like the subjects that you get to do and what things you can do at lunchtime and how many friends you can make.
So I talk to a lot of boys at primary schools about coming to secondary school, and one of the biggest fears they have is about getting lost because they've come from this primary school they know really well to this big secondary school environment. So when you started, were you worried about that? And if you were, how did you deal with it?
I was pretty scared to come to high school. I thought I was going to get lost all the time. And because my primary school was just medium-sized, wasn't small, wasn't big. And I thought this was going to be a massive school. It's going to be so hard to find my way around. And one time I did end up in the wrong class. But luckily the teacher, he helped me and he told me what class I was meant to go. And then from that day on, like if I ever have a classroom that I don't know where it is, I'll just ask one of my mates. So
or a teacher.
Yeah, I know my way around now.
Yeah, what about you,
I
Thomas?
didn't find it too stressful finding my way around since I always knew if you got lost or you didn't know where to go, there was always someone to reach out to and get a helping hand if you needed it.
Absolutely right. And I've never seen a Whitefriars boy send someone in the wrong direction. Have you? No, that wouldn't happen because, do you think it's got anything to do with our pastoral system? Like when because in our pastoral system in the morning you go into your pastoral group and there's 3 or 4 year 7s, 3 or 4 year 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s and 12s. So you get to know these older boys who've been here for a while. Does you think that helps with the way that you've settled in and the way that you get to find your way around school?
I mean, now that we're year 8s, we know this place well enough to help the year 7s. And I'm sure they'll return the favour to next year's year 7s.
They remember what it's like.
Yeah.
You remember what it's like to be a year 7 boy. And you're the one who's now helping them find their way. Love that. Fantastic. So one of the other things that boys worry about too when they start secondary school, or anyone for that matter, is will I find some friends? Did you guys know people in your pastoral, or were they all new to you?
Everyone except for Tom, because we're both in the same pastoral, but everyone else, I had no clue who they were, but there's some year 9s and 10s who I'm pretty kind with.
Really?
I talk to them frequently.
That's amazing. Because I think, there was a time there where boys in other year levels wouldn't necessarily talk to each other at all, but I think that pastoral approach helps. So you've got people in year 10 who you know in your pastoral and you have a chat to them. That's lovely. What about you, Thomas, in terms of finding friends? Was that an issue for you?
Not really, since everyone in year 7 was a bit nervous and they were always a bit worried about making friends. So eventually everyone got more comfortable around each other and started branching out, saying hello and started having conversations, which I found really good and allowed you to expand your friendship group and make it more open to new opportunities.
One of the things we do in the early days at Whitefriars to help people to develop friendships is we do something at the very start of the year. What is it? What do we do?
Isn't it like orientation?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then something happens after that.
The camp?
The camp.
Oh, yeah.
So we have year 7 camp. And that's after about 3 days of being in school. We say, see ya, you're going off on camp. Has that supported you in any way to settle into life at Whitefriars?
Because not only were you with your own house, but you got to also meet people from other houses. So that was really good. Got to meet some new people from different houses and be friends with them.
Okay, that's exactly right. Any other thoughts about being on camp and how that assisted your transition into secondary school?
Even though we weren't allowed to stay in the camp, it still allowed us to bond with each other in activities.
So are there any other things that you've done here at Whitefriars that have helped you to find like-minded people? When you find those people who love the same things you love and really keen on similar sorts of interests and activities. Have Have you found any people like that from different activities you've done here at school?
I reckon, yeah, since there's a lots of like clubs and bands you could join. For example, if you love music, you could ask to join a rock band or a jazz band, and you could find people which are interested in the same things as you. Same with like if you join chess club or tech club, which you get to like figure out how backstage stuff works for like theatre production.
Yeah, right. Fantastic. So you found guys who love music like you do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have.
You didn't realise there was that many people out there who love music the way you love music. Yeah. One of the things I've seen, like, there's a Lego club in the library at lunchtime, and there's even a Dungeons and Dragons club there now for boys who like playing that game. So it brings boys together who like singing. So yeah, the future's bright for you guys here at school. There's so many. You've mentioned one of the great things about life at Whitefriars is opportunity to do different things. And you must look at those senior levels and you see boys trying all sorts of different classes and activities and different things. What is it that you are looking forward to most as you move up the year levels here at Whitefriars?
Probably the most common one will be food tech, but probably also maybe finance.
You mentioned two very important life skills there, haven't you? That idea of being able to look after yourself from a meals and cooking perspective, but also look after yourself financially and develop that independence in that area too. Very good. What about the rest of you guys?
What I'm probably excited about is the leadership opportunities that the school has, since I would probably like to go for middle year's captain next year, since it provides you need knowledge of know how to lead and how to organise events and also how to do public speaking.
Because, and I always say boys who put themselves forward for leadership takes a little bit of courage, because we don't know what the outcome's going to be. We think, I mightn't apply for that because what happens if I don't get it? And so I think one of the great things about Whitefriars is that we create that environment where you can feel comfortable, hopefully, going for those. Were you worried about not getting it?
I was a little bit, but I knew I tried my best, and if I didn't get it, well, there's nothing else I could really do. So,
some things we can control, some things we can't control.
It wasn't going to be the end of the world, so...
Yeah, but you had a go.
Yeah.
Well done. Very good. Okay, I've done. Now I've got the hard job. Now you guys have got the easy job. You can ask me lots of questions. Go.
Where did you go to high school?
Where did I go to high school? Well, I went to a high school called Whitefriars College. That's where I went to school. So I came to this school, started here as a Year 7 boy long time ago. And as you were talking about starting school, I still remember my first day at school. I still remember being really nervous. I can still remember the day. It was a bit of a grey day. It wasn't a nice February day. It was a bit grey and a bit wet. And I was really nervous. And the thing I was most nervous about was making friends. I wanted to fit in, and I wanted to make some good friends, and I did. And then there's some of those people that are still my friends now. That's a long time ago.
What's your favourite part about being principal?
That's a really, really tough question. I think probably the most favourite part about being principal is anything I do where I'm with you guys. Because as a principal, sometimes you can get taken away. You've got to work in your office, I've got to answer emails, and I have to attend meetings and have to write lots of things and documents and things like that. And they're important, and I enjoy those parts of my job, but the best part of my job is when I can be with you guys, and particularly when I see you young men achieving wonderful things and doing amazing things. When I see you perform on the stage, or when I see you playing a game of football, or when I see you do some public speaking, or when I walk into a classroom and I see great learning going on and boys working with their teachers and cooperating and all those things, that's when it gives me my energy to do this job. I don't have many bad days as a principal. You have some days that are a little bit tricky, a little bit difficult, and if I'm having a day that's a little bit tricky, I'll go out into the middle of the yard at lunchtime because I get uplifted by your energy and enthusiasm and love for life and all that sort of stuff. So best part of my job is being out there amongst you guys.
How do you make sure our school is a safe and happy place for everyone?
That is a really, really good question. I think it's one thing to say that you are a safe place. It's another thing to make sure that our boys feel safe every day. I always say to Year 7 families, if a boy can walk away from the end of term 1, Year 7 and say, I feel safe and happy to come to school, then the school's done its job. So we pour a lot of energy and time into ensuring the safety of everyone in this school. So making sure that our teachers are there to support you and to listen to you. Because I think the number one rule of safety is your voice. So if you feel that something's not right, you should feel that you have someone that you can talk to. For me, that's what safety is about at Whitefriars. It's about relationship. It's about being able to find someone that you can talk to whenever you have any issues or concerns.
How do you choose new teachers that come to our school and teach a certain subject?
What a great question. How do we choose new teachers here? So, you know, the first thing we have to make sure is that they like working with boys. And when people choose, sounds a bit funny to say that, but people who come to Whitefriars to want to work at Whitefriars, they've made a deliberate decision to come and work with boys. And that's why we want teachers who are understanding, compassionate, who understand what it means to work at Whitefriars. We are a Catholic school in the Carmelite tradition, and they need to understand that that means something too in the way that they interact with young people, with respect and the dignity of the person at the very centre. We also want them to be very knowledgeable about what they do, and mostly, we want them to be passionate about what they teach.
What are your plans for improving our school in the future?
Good question, Bailey. We are doing a number of things here. See, we already know that Whitefriars is one of the most beautiful school environments in education. Everyone who comes into Whitefriars goes, oh my goodness, this is so beautiful. It's got the trees and it's green and it's got the birds and all those sorts of things. So our job is to continue to enhance the environment that we're in. And one of the ways we do that is by looking at the different facilities that we have to make sure that they are going to help you to learn to your maximum, to learn in a classroom environment that is conducive to learning. And so we've just developed a new school master plan. And a master plan is a document that helps us to know what the school might be in years to come, the different facilities that we need to continue to provide you with the best education that we possibly can. So we're looking at some maybe new buildings and new facilities. Like you think of the new facility that we just opened this year. We've got new tennis courts and a new sports pavilion down the back here. Part of the master plan is looking at some redevelopments up in the Butler building in the performing arts area, and how we can develop and grow our facilities up there so we can make even better music and drama programs in our school. The other thing about the future is that the world is changing really quickly, and we need to make sure that the educational programs that we're providing and the ways that we're providing those programs keep pace with the world. There's no point us just being off on our own little, tangent out there. We have to look at the world out there and say, well, what's happening in the world that we can assist our boys to be able to access and grow. And one of those things, I think, is the development of skills. So there was a time when we all had to learn about all the different rivers in Australia. Well, that was when I was at school. We had to learn about all the rivers in Australia. Well, what do we do now if we want to learn about all the rivers in Australia? What do you do? Search it up. You Google. Research it. I don't need to teach you about the rivers of Australia. I need to teach you about good research skills. I need to teach you about developing inquiry skills. I need to teach you about critical thinking, problem solving, collaborative work. So it's not so much just about knowledge, it's not just about learning the rivers of Australia, which I can Google in 2 seconds. It's learning about the skills of research and other things that are going to help you to access knowledge in the world.
What's your favourite sport?
Favourites? Oh, that's a toughie too. Because I one of my jobs when I was first a teacher, I was a phys ed teacher. I was a music teacher and I was a phys ed teacher. They were the two things I loved to do most. And I played it when I was at school here as a boy. I was in every team. I loved sports so much. I just had to play. I was in footy. I was in the cricket team. I was in basketball. I was in swimming. I was in cross country. I was in athletics. I wasn't good at. I wasn't that great at any of them. But I just loved it. I just had to be part of it. So that was a thing for me here. I just played everything I could get my hand on. Plus, I was also in the school band, in the school musical. I think I had a bit of FOMO, that fear of missing out. I sort of felt as if I had to do everything, and that's what helped me in leadership too, because that was something that led me to when I was in Year 12, I was vice captain of the school in Year 12, and I think that was because people saw me everywhere. And I thought, oh, well, we have to give them something, because you've done all these other sports and music and whatever. And I just loved school so much that I just had to be involved in everything. So my favourite probably would be a toss-up between running. I love to run, and swimming. They'd be the two things I love. My advice always is to Year 7s when they first come here. Try lots of things. Try everything. Have a go. Have a crack at what this school has to offer. Because over the 6 years you are here, you're going to be given so many opportunities to grab a hold of. So why not try something new? Try something different. Have a crack at something you've never tried before. Because when you finish Year 12, you're not going to have those same opportunities again. So that's what I say to Year 7 boys. That's the first piece of advice. And the other piece of advice, look after each other. Because you've all you've got. You guys are going to be, travelling this journey through high school together. You're going to have all these people around you, you're going to be supporting you, your teachers, other boys. But the most important people you should be looking after is each other throughout your whole time here. So try lots of stuff and look after each other, and you will have a really successful time at secondary school.